What would you do if your body slowly stopped working, but your mind stayed sharp? If you could no longer walk, speak, or even feed yourself, would you still find purpose? Would you still chase your dreams? Stephen Hawking was a young student at Cambridge in the early 1960s. He was shy, brilliant, and deeply curious about the universe. He wanted to understand time, space, and the laws that govern everything, from the smallest particles to entire galaxies. At the age of 21, Stephen was diagnosed with ALS, a progressive disease that causes the nerves controlling movement to shut down. Doctors told him he had only 2 years to live. 2 years. He was in the middle of university. He had his whole life ahead of him. Now, suddenly, he faced losing everything. The ability to walk, speak, move, and eventually even breathe. At first, Stephen was devastated. He became quiet, pulled away from others. He described it later as feeling like he was watching life from a distance, but that wasn't the end of his story. Not even close. During that difficult time, he met someone, Jane Wilde, a literature student with energy and hope. Their relationship gave him a reason to keep going. They got married, and slowly Stephen returned to his studies. Even though his body was growing weaker, his mind stayed incredibly active. He couldn't write down equations anymore, but he could still think. So he did, constantly. Stephen started working on the nature of black holes and time itself. He made a discovery that changed physics, the idea that black holes aren't completely black. As his illness progressed, he lost the ability to speak. Still, he found ways to communicate. First through a letterboard, then with a speech-generating computer that responded to movements in his cheek. But he kept teaching, writing, speaking. Despite enormous challenges, he raised 3 children, gave public lectures, wrote books, and continued to work on some of the deepest questions in science. He wrote the best-selling book, A Brief History of Time. He held one of the most prestigious positions in science, the Lucasian Chair of Mathematics. He inspired people around the world not just through his science, but through his perseverance. He proved that disability does not mean the end of a meaningful life. Stephen once said, "However difficult life may seem, there is always something you can do and succeed at." So let me ask you again, if you lost what you thought made life possible, your physical strength, your voice, your independence, what would you still hold on to? Stephen Hawking held on to his curiosity, his mind, his sense of humor, and in doing so, he changed the way we see the universe.